Happy Monday. How is everyone today? And, Jolene. Oh my goodness. Okay. Hello. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend, and today is a great day so far. We are going to have a focus today of starting with photos and working the other way. That made sense in my head, and now that I say it out loud, that sounds like what we always do. It's not going to be exactly what we always do, so I'll show you in just a moment. But anyway, I've got a bunch of photos, and I'm going to talk to you about how they then are going to go into my album, including the page that we started on Friday but did not finish. Right, it's going to make sense. I'm just apparently working up to making sense. Maybe I should have done more speaking out loud today before I jumped straight into a live stream. Anyway, Jolene has gone to see her junior gorilla that he goes to the same university that I went to many, many years ago in the dark ages. But Jolene, do we share a birthday? Did I know this? That's hilarious. But I will tell him I did survive my parking tickets on campus. And in fact, I got one in the last week, and they hold your diploma if you don't pay for it. And I didn't mean to get it. I actually had brought my car around to clear my desk at my job on campus and thought I could park there for 10 minutes to get the stuff into my car. And yeah, whoops. Yeah, I got busted in that 10 minutes. So I had to pay one last donation to campus to get my diploma. So there you go. But I did pay it. I think it was $12 back in the day. As long as you paid really quickly, it was $12. I'm sure it's a lot more now. Okay, Jolene says, we do share a birthday. I probably did know this, and it's just escaped my mind. But there we go. I'm glad that all is well. Right, some questions have come up straight away. I'm going to answer them so that I don't forget. Number one, if you are getting the 502 Bad Gateway page loading up on either Shimelle.com or Shimelle.com/forum, the class site or the main site, it is not you, okay? Unfortunately, there's also not a huge amount I can do about it right this second. We are working on it, and all I can do right now is ask for your patience because it is far beyond my technical know-how. But I'm not ignoring it. We are on it and trying to fix the problem. My advice, as sad as it sounds, is to refresh the page, come back at a different time, refresh the page a couple times. I'm really, really sorry to ask you to do that, but please know it's not you. The internet technical of what is happening, it's not you and it's not me, and it's not really the hosting company either. But it would be really boring for me to explain here right now. So, keep refreshing. The page is still there. It's just being hit by so many things that it's hard for you to get it to load. I put this on the Facebook page earlier, on the Facebook group earlier today. What works for me is to open it and then leave it open in a tab so that I don't have to start from the beginning. But that is a ridiculous thing for me to ask any of you to do, and I 100% know it is. But I'm just letting you know that that does help if you get it to load once. But I also feel terrible saying that because I should never have to ask you to keep a tab open. That's ludicrous. But there we go. I hope that helps a little bit, and I hope that I have a much bigger help very soon and we can get rid of that problem. Okay? But I am very sorry that it's causing so much trouble. Okay, that question over with. Christmas kit. The Christmas kit is going to go live this evening. I've got it all ready to go. I decided I would wait for this live stream in case there are any last minute requests, questions, anything like that that would make a change in the requests, like of what you found useful in the Christmas kit before, what you never want to see, what you always want to see, what you wish I had always put on. So today's live stream is your chance, if you are here live, if you've ever wanted something different in the list than what I suggest, speak now or forever hold your peace. And Elaine and Carrie, you have my heart that you have open tabs for my website. And Elaine just keeps about 60 tabs open. I'm in your club. I have multiple browsers with tabs across the top, and they're like, I know which browser has these tabs, which browser has these tabs, and I swap back and forth so that but neither of them is like a plain, clean window. They both have a zillion tabs. That's how my mind operates. Okay, those were the two big questions I wanted to get answered. So the Christmas list will go live this evening. I'll post it everywhere. And any last minute requests that you want in there, go for it now. Okay, anything else that was technical? I think no. Let's go ahead and look at some scrappiness. Right, so update is my kit is not here just yet, so we're going to continue using this stash made kit. And don't worry, I am still going to use up the September kit because I'm quite excited for it. So if I need to add in some surprise lives or some edited videos along the way, we'll get that done. Don't worry. Now, I made this one on Friday by taking things from my existing stash that are similar to what was on the shopping list for September. So I had some collage papers because there were two $49 in Market collage papers, but I went to some Sassafras collage papers. There's a Vicky Starburst paper in here because there was a different Starburst. I also had this Vicky Starburst paper, and let's just say, I'm pretty sure, no, I'm 100% sure. Both of these have been in kits before, but I had two papers, 2 sheets of them, so I haven't used them again, and I might as well use them again. I own them again. Let's use them again. Use what you buy. So then this was some simple stories. It was a collection we had in the, I will look at that for you as soon as we're done here. I think I have your email on my list. Sorry, it's, I can't remember if it is Mike or you're logged in on someone else's account, but I'm pretty sure that you're on my list for today anyway, so you should receive an email from me with all of that fixed. Okay, sorry. This was a Simple Stories collection that we had used other papers in a kit 1 month, but I had added a couple extras for myself and not used them up, so now it's time to use them up. Yeah. Okay. Now, this was also from a couple kits ago. That was this. Yeah? Oh my goodness, no. How loud can you hear that? So the other thing, I put a disclaimer in the live chat. So the construction work on our building is at it's at our wall currently. We're a row of houses and they all have to be done, but Friday they started working on our wall and today they're working on our wall. I don't know if you can hear me at all. If you can hear them at all, let me know. Also, when they chat, you can totally hear it in the room. So far their conversation has all been completely clean, but it's power tools. So I feel like there's always the potential for the language to not be clean. So I hope nothing bad happens. I want to keep my family friendly rating on YouTube. No swearing, guys. Okay. It feels like being at the world's biggest dentist appointment because they're like sanding down the house from the outside in. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's background noise. I don't love that it's background noise for you, but there we go. You can hear me. Okay, so we're going to do 3 3x4s on here, but then I've also printed 3 extra photos that we're gonna work with today, right? Okay, so this one's coming up later. And we're gonna use this one and these 2. And then I'm gonna show you what I do with random photos like this, so that you know a little bit about what to expect in my class that starts next week. Just joy. Bend and snap. Oh, it sounds like bees, says Susan. Amazing. So we're gonna do these 2 and this one, which are all from one museum day that was not a Sunday. Or not a Monday, it was a museum Saturday. So we've got these 3. Okay. I'm glad that the background noise isn't too overwhelming. For me, it's just going to be the need to try to keep really focused, even though they are really distracting. I'm also going to try and move the mic to, sorry if it's rustling right now. Try to move the mic so it is as directional as possible. So I've got 3 3x4 photos this amount of space to work with, so we're going to figure out how that can work. First, I'm going to take the white borders down just a little bit so that they are a bit smaller, and I'm going to separate the 3 photos because I have 2 that are really similar and one odd one out, which means I would like to mix them up rather than have the 2 similar ones right next to each other. Just like putting colors next to each other, I like to have a little bit of contrast. Same thing if some of the photos have contrast and some don't. And Caroline is in there straight away to say, is that a Pollock's Theater? It is, but it's at a museum where you can use it. So, are those all cut rather evenly? This one still needs. Nope, Connie, there are 2 videos each coming this week in both Old Stash and 1-2 Punch to wrap everything up there before we go into Just Joy next week. Yep. 2 videos each. So I've got, let's see, this one feels the most directional, so I want to put that on this side. And we've gone with angles on this page. I may start to regret that today. I don't know. What happens if I do something like this? I don't like that. Nope. Because look, now I have this really awkward open space in the middle. So we're going to move things around a little bit more. Now I've separated those so that I could have them apart, but then I've immediately put that on the edge. So I might mix that up a little bit because this one is also very directional in that way. I'm just going to see. Carrie, I'm confused now. It's really bad with your earbuds or it's really not bad? So we could go that direction. That actually looks quite nice. We can move this over a little bit so that rainbow runs there. And then we could bring this just up higher here. Yeah. And then my open space is in one corner rather than trapped in the middle. Yeah. So this was, you could use the theater and there was a little dress up section, which is where he's got the hat and cane from. But of course he also has a hat and cane at home. And then this was, you could make your own playbill, and this space here was covered in old Victorian playbills, and then they had different stencils for you and you could make your own. So I think what needs to happen is that these 3 need to get matted on one color, and I think I'm not going to angle these. I'm going to keep the photos nice and straight, and then just have the accents be the angled pieces. So I need some paper. Okay, well, we're going to mat these on, and I need to do my speech. And then, oh, phew, Carrie. Phew. Right. I'll do my speech now and then I'll find paper. Hi, my name is Shimelle. I teach online scrapbooking classes, design scrapbooking products, and help you use them to tell your stories in a creative way. It's not just my hobby, it is my job, and that means anytime I scrapbook on the internet, it's considered advertising, and legally I need to make sure you're aware of that. So thank you for coming to watch my #advertising. I appreciate you being here, whether you are live, chatty, watch from Tomorrowland, quiet, craft, don't craft, think about coming back to craft. By the way, notice the person who came back. We're here for you. Love that. And all of the links that you might need to stuff like the classes, the products, the things that I use here in the live stream, they're all in the description box, and they're in that order now. So there's stuff at the beginning that's about the classes that I teach, including Just Joy, which starts next week, so you can sign up for that. If you've signed up and you haven't received anything other than your receipt, that is correct, because class doesn't start till next week, so you haven't missed anything. Nothing has opened yet, but please go ahead and sign up if you want to take a class, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Then the next section down in the description box has the products that I've designed from American Crafts and links so that you can go buy them should you wish to. And then the third section has stuff about all the different ways that I can help you, including the supplies we use here on Best of Both Worlds, the concept of what Best of Both Worlds is and how you can pick from your stash or a local store, or the links that I give, all of that sort of stuff. So it's in that order, and it's in the description box today. Right, let's find some paper to map these 3 photos. And Auntie Caffeine says, has WB ever presented a show to you about, oh no, just presented a show to you in The Adhesive Avenger. Have you ever met a theater kid? My life is, Mom, watch this. Oh, Pam, we're proud of you though. We're happy that you're taking care of yourself. Pam has to leave us to go to a mammogram, but we're glad that you're taking care of yourself. We'll still be here, and you can catch us in the replay, nice and healthy and checked out. Yeah, that's what we want to hear. Okay, paper to go behind these. So I need either a big scrap or a whole sheet, because this would be too much for a 6x8. So let's see what we got in big scraps first, and then we will go to big sheets if we need to. Okay. Colors I've got going there. I've got yellow and 2 different kinds of blue going on. And also kind of a brown, but I probably don't have any scraps of brown because I don't use brown. Right. That light blue would be great, but the only scraps of light blue I've found are small. So that doesn't help me. Oh, this has multiple blues in one piece of paper. What would this look like with like all those different blues? I feel like it could work. Let's try it. Okay. April says, how have auditions been going? They've been going very well. Nothing I can talk about yet, but we will see what happens. Susan also says pink. We could also go with some pink. It's very true. Or orange. There is a tiny bit of orange, but in there. Watch, then in the end I'll end up piling loads of orange, but right now I'm thinking no orange. Okay. Think about that. I do kind of like that because it's this same combination that's here, the navy shades plus the blue-green shade, which is like there. And this one is kind of close to that one. So there we go. Justine, he is super happy at his new school. I could not ask for a happier first week from him. Yeah. Taryn is here for her first ever live because her kids needed herding out the door. She's not normally with us for a morning. Okay, so did I actually stick that down? Yeah, we're good there. Let's stick this here. Now, could add more mats around this, but I'm going to encroach on all of that. So I think we just do one multicolored mat, and then we move on. Okay, so title to work with this. That's going to need something else here too, but we'll get there. Let's see. Oh, well done. Auntie Caffeine is getting photos onto a layout from about 6 years ago. We love that. You know, like choose your own adventure? That's what I want to go with here. I want something like choose your own story. Would you do choose your own story or make your own story or write your own story? Maybe write is better. What do you think? Oh, Sophia has fresh out of the oven cinnamon rolls to eat while she watches. That's amazing. You can pass those right around. Thanks. Yeah, would you do choose your own, write your own, what would you do? Let me see what sticker letters we got in these colors. Do you like how the stash is always, what do we have? As if all of us have a collective stash here. That's how I feel. It's our shared stash, except also I'm not sharing. Oh, but I like the idea of it. Okay, where are the ones I'm looking for? Where are you hiding? There they are. The white rabbit wants to jump out of the cupboard. Stay there. Thank you. It's not an actual rabbit. The books were Choose Your Own Adventure. Yes. So if I want to do story, not adventure, what would you do? But I want that same sort of concept. Lisa would go with write, so would our doctor in the house. Oh, hello, Georgia. Gina would too. Okay, and Rebecca and Sophia. Okay, we're going to do write your own story. Okay. So let's look at colors and find something for a write your own. I know. You're like, Shimelle, come up with a better way. I realized one day when I kept wondering, why do I keep putting off doing something on the outside of these to make it easier to know what's inside? Do you know what? I enjoyed this part of the process. There's some sort of serotonin involved in, let me flip through and find the winner. And here's the winner. Look at that. Okay. So I'm not doing it. I'm never going to write on the outside because I enjoy that bit and I don't want to take that part of the fun away. So there we go. Don't take the fun out just because there's a more productive way. This doesn't need to be the most productive thing you do in your life. It's a craft. It's a hobby. It's for fun. It doesn't need to be precision engineered. If there's something that you enjoy, do it the way that you enjoy. So there we go. Oh no, Georgia's back to work and so tired that she had to have a power nap on her lunch break. But we're here for you. We're here for you. And I did that post and I tagged you. Georgia is here to be like, Shimelle, use your Facebook group. And I'm getting better. So also, it's not going to go live tonight because you have to space things out on Facebook. Otherwise, everything just gets lost, yeah? So tonight will be the Christmas kit link. And then I think tomorrow, I'm going to do a customer service post on the Facebook group that I can then tag to the top. I know I also need to do a little video that's like explaining Best of Both Worlds and possibly even just who I am. Because the Facebook group is an interesting world now. It has grown to a significant size and lots of people have no idea who I am. They're just like, it's a scrapbooking group. I'm like, oh, but hi, it's my scrapbooking group? And we literally get questions where people are like, what is a Shimelle? Hi, I'm a Shimelle. So I need to do a what is a Shimelle and what is the Best of Both Worlds. Because those of you who hang out there all the time, then we'll do something very sensible like hashtag your post BOBW. And then the only comment you'll get is, what is BOBW? And I'm like, I don't want you to have to keep answering that. I want them to know because they're in our group. So those are the posts that I know I need to get done. So I'm going to do a customer service one that should go live tomorrow. Then that can get pinned to the top so that if something is causing you a problem or anything like that, you can ask it in the comments there and I won't lose it, because Georgia and I were having this conversation. The group has grown so much that it has entirely broken the notification system. And I think this is totally, like, this is not unique to me. This happens on Facebook with things that get big. So, like, the things I get in my notifications, if you tag me in a post now Instagram notifications work great. Facebook notifications, if you tag me in a post, it will never be in my little list of things that come down when I click on the bell. Instead, I'm not liking how this is working, but I'm going to get the letters down and then we're going to move it around to make it work. Okay. Instead, that list that come down with the notifications will be all of the things that would make me use the angry face. Do you know what I mean? Like the kind of posts where you're like, how have I ended up with this person on my Facebook feed because we do not agree on the basic philosophies of life. So I'll get lots of notifications about people who are really angry in life and we are not ever going to agree, and they have nothing to do with scrapbooking or theater or like just random stuff, okay, that's not connected to me. What will never be in my notifications is at Shimelle, hey, I can't find this thing, or hey, I thought I was getting an email today and I didn't, or hey, I really like the page you made, or hey, I made a page that I scrap lifted one of yours, or I followed your video. None of that makes it to my notifications. So instead, I'm trying to be proactive and make it easier for those posts to appear and me be able to track them down. So I'm thinking if there is a featured pinned post that's like the customer service desk, number one, I will be able to see it. Number two, you might find the answer to your own question in the comments, right? I know that's a little lofty of an idea, but in theory, if everybody is having a similar question and you go to the comments and you're like, oh, I can see, then that's fine, right? Okay, so that's what I'm thinking. This is a point where I'm gonna look at this on the screen instead of with my own eyeballs. I like it more on the screen than I do looking down at the desk. So I'm just going to wibble wobble these a little bit more. And then I think maybe that's it. Do we feel like this is, the own feels too disconnected? The space here is smaller. Now that's really big. That's too big. I mean, it isn't actually bigger than this, but because there's nothing here, it feels like it. So let's cheat that in a little bit more, but still leave a decent size. And then maybe enamel dots in here will also help bring that together. Yeah? Elaine, is it possible to have an FAQ? Yeah, so that's what I'm kind of thinking, the like what is a Shimelle and what is best of both worlds. Yeah, so that we could, that's a good name for it. That could be the FAQ. Yeah. So I won't post all of those on the same day because if I do, then Facebook will hide them all forever. But I'll do one at a time. And then that way, those of you who hang out on the Facebook group a lot, if you see questions that could be directed to there, you could also be like, hey, check the pinned post because there's the info to that is in customer service or the info to that is in FAQs. Does that make sense? I know y'all are laughing at me going, you sound super, like you're getting super organized. Let's not over egg it. But just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little. Okay, we need more embellishment. Okay, so what shall we do? We've got, oh, well, let's look, because when I made this stash kit, I only looked at paper. I didn't pull out embellishments, did I? So let us have a look there, which means I actually need to open my own description box here. Let's see if I can remember how to do that. I love that Jolene is going with a Shimelle is a type of drink. I hope that it's very like exciting and glittery, and it comes with like one of those little glowy ice cubes or something. Yeah. See you later, Susan. Right, so September embellishments look like this. Let's pull this link up. Don't forget, if you are ordering this week, SBC Fest gets you 10% off your order. And there's freebies. There's good freebies this week, so don't miss those. Right, embellishments. We have puffy stickers and a Vicky 6x12 and some floral die cuts, and then the back to school sticker sheet. Okay, so I've got some other bits we can pull instead, and let's start there. Okay. That's Sophia. That's a great new hashtag. Her hashtag is only as organized as is strictly necessary. Brilliant. Okay, so we're going to add some puffies. We're going to add a 6x12 sticker sheet. So we've got, did I pop them back in here, or are they on the desk already? Puffies we have. Okay. I have a whole bunch of puffies here. What would be a good match? Oh, that's a really nice match. Let's use that. Okay, so we'll do stars. And enamel dots. We've got, would these work? Not so much. These too dark are quite nice actually. Let's go with those. Okay, and a 6x12 sticker sheet. So what do we have from kits that I didn't finish using their 6x12s or even the 12x12s? Let's start there. Not a lot left on those. Oh, this is an old one. I don't know if it'll match the colors, but it's here and it has plenty to work with. And that's probably the best shot for the moment. Or, okay, I'll bring out these, which was actually, these were a sticker pack, but okay, so we will pick some bits from here and we'll use these. Okay, right. Auntie Caffeine says she's an unhappy person because she wants her birthday stash, but it's all cleaned up and she doesn't want to make a mess. All right. So let's start. Does the big 6x12 have anything that's the right kind of color to work? I like this light blue, rainbow, and a good sentiment. Yeah. So let's pop that in there, just lightly in case I want to move it. And let's see, these were from a Vicky mix. Oh, these are like collage-y pieces of washi. That feels like a good mix to what's here at the bottom. Okay, but I want it underneath here. Okay, hold on. I don't have enough fingers. Taryn, I'm with you. Both on baked goods and it works. It works. Come on. So I want that to go to the corner here. Right. And then that one in between. Okay, what else we have here? Pop this down here for the moment. This would be a really good piece for this kind of concept, but it doesn't work with the colors I've put on, so we will keep that for another day. Are these like whole pieces of washi? I feel like they are. Yeah, it's like that whole sheet is just washi. Wow. I will have to think of what to do with those. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. That's just the right color. Okay. Oh, this phrase might be so good that I want to use it even though I don't like the spelling. You're a rainbow with a soul full of color. Do we like it? Okay. Then I have these little pieces that we could add in. Hilariously, there's an orange one. What did I say about? There's only a little bit of orange. But it might work right there. How big is, yeah, so it needs to be the big strip. So run that there and then pull this over the top of it. This phrase over the top. Like that. Okay. And maybe also bring this blue-green up above. I'm going to pop it in a couple places now, oddly enough. I'm going to layer it over the other washi. Oh, I didn't mean to bring it over the lettering. I just wanted it over the blue box, but not over the letters. Come on, that's it. There. Because it's washi, I can still see that other layer behind, which I like. Auntie Caffeine says she loves this layout because it feels like a sunny morning in the 80s with eggs and cartoons. It's so funny that you say that because WB and I, yesterday we went to this thing that we call potluck choir. And not potluck as you don't know what you're getting, but also kind of. It's potluck as in you bring a dish and then everybody sings, and when we're done singing, we eat. Yeah. And it's open to anybody, so really interesting mix of people turn up. It's just one Sunday a month. And normally it's not something that WB would be free to go to, but it was yesterday. So we both went together, and the room, it's at this like really really hipster hotel / residence. So they made this this building that's like a hotel, but also has a lot of communal spaces. So it has a cinema room, a pool, a dance studio, a gym, several restaurants, and a coffee shop. It has what we were in, which was the listening lounge. And the listening lounge is so 1980s, but like with today's technology. But we walk in and it is the color of my childhood living room. It is mustard yellow and orange with lots of wood grain. And it has old school light bulbs, which added a little bit more retroness to it. And then you walk in and there's this massive vinyl collection and then a big stereo system. And instead of having like chairs, like when I normally go to my usual choir, we're on church pews. Sometimes go to a different choir that has just normal folding chairs. And this has big convertible sofa units. Do you remember the kind of sofa that had like some double pieces and some single pieces and some like without a back, and then you could move it all around into whatever configuration you wanted? So that's what I grew up with. My sister even took it with her when she moved out as an adult. And that's what they had there, but it was like super fancy. Like that, but not on a budget. Yeah. And so we were sitting there, and WB, of course, has no concept of the retroness of this. And I was like, WB, this is what my childhood looked like. Like the visual aesthetic. This, but with less money. That's what I remember of my childhood. This with less polish on top. It was amazing. And Auntie Caffeine says, did it smell like cigarettes and the sound of Tina Turner? I love that as a whole visual. It did not smell of smoke, so that's not a nice thing about modern spaces. But yes, and yesterday, so the September theme was the International Day of Peace. So all the songs were themed around love and peace. So we had What the World Needs Now is Love, Sweet Love, which WB had only just listened to on the way there. So that was nice. Then we did The Power of Love from Back to the Future, which was really funny because some people thought it was going to be the Celine Dion Power of Love. It was not. It was the Back to the Future kind of version. And then Where is the Love from Black Eyed Peas. I did not rap. You'll all be happy to know. We just did the little singy bit as our little closing while we were getting ready. So that was really lovely. Oh, Sam, I don't know. Okay, so moving on. Let's put some dots and stars in here. So I'm thinking if we make a little group of embellishment here, whether that's stars or dots, that's going to help all of this fit together. I think it's going to be dots. So, oh my goodness, that's such a huge honor. Rita says, Shimelle stuff has its own Raskog in her house, its own little trolley of craftiness. That's amazing. Okay, I am still going to staple this, but it is not done yet. So we're going to do 3 dots here, 3 dots there. Let's pull up to here. We need another little embellishment there. What from all of that stuff could I put in there? Oh, you're right. I totally forgot about that one, Elaine. Jennifer Rush also had a song called Power of Love. Oh, is there a Frankie Goes to Hollywood Power of Love as well? What? I'm confused now. I can't think of the Frankie Goes to Hollywood one. But I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's not right. I'm just saying I haven't heard, I can't place that one in my head. I could look it up and put it on and be like, oh yes, I do remember, but I don't know right now. So I'm looking for something that can fit in this space here. Wouldn't be bad to bring in another bit of this shininess, so even if it's just a label or something. I think these labels are just a little too small, so let's try this yellow one that's a little taller. Sophia says the Frankie Goes to Hollywood one is in her head, knocking everything else out of the way. Oh, Elaine says that one is Christmas adjacent. Okay, I'm gonna have to pull it up afterward because I bet you anything, as soon as I start like the first note, then I'll be like, oh, of course. But it's just not coming to my mind right now. All right, and then 3 dots on here too. Oh my goodness, that's a question and a half. Auntie Caffeine says, in my opinion, how much is too much? Well, I'm nowhere near it on this page. Yes, we did the Huey Lewis one. All right, and then let's go to the stars. So I'm using them just the same kind of way. I feel like it needs to go more to the side. Okay, so that this feels like a horizontal element. I only had one big one, so the big one goes with the title. Oh, I will look that up. Carrie says to check out Choir on YouTube, I assume. It's a choir that has meetups in different cities. They rent out auditoriums and people just show up and sing. I do love that sort of arrangement. Potluck choir is like that. If you ever want to go, it's Mason and Fifth. And so you can look up their website. It's free to go. You just reserve your spot. But really interesting mix of people. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So I don't have that same big, medium, small. So instead of putting them right next to each other, I'm going to scatter them about a bit more. So I bring this down into that zone there. And let's just do 2 over here. 1 there. 1 there. Yeah, sticking with that horizontal. Okay, we need a little something up here. Do we just want more dots? Why not? Hello, Liz. Oh, why does this window keep doing this? I have to shrink it in order to see anything else. But we are good. Okay. Now, little one here. Now I do like that further down rather than keeping it in the washi. Okay, so then where does the writing go here? So there's a little room for writing here. This also has lines that are helpful for writing on, so I could bring in a little bit of journaling here. But I also think this space might be useful for journaling here too. In terms of how much is too much, will it be a lot if, like with this page design, to then put writing here, here, and here? Yes, but is that a bad thing? Not particularly, because each thing there is important. So the thing I would get really nervous about is if I looked at it and went, oh, I'll keep my story shorter so that I have some open space to breathe. Like, really, life is more important than that. Let's get the story written down rather than worrying about whether or not the layout needs this in a compositional value. Because the other thing that we have to think about when our pages go into our album is that it's not just the individual page. You know, I love the book element of scrapbooking. The word book is in there. And when you read a book, you do not evaluate each page as whether the storytelling on that page was independently better than the storytelling on the next page. We don't do that, and we don't do it as we go through scrapbooks either. We look and go, and it might be that one page stands out to us, and we might go, oh, that layout is absolutely beautiful. Just in the same way as we read a novel and go, oh, I have to take a moment because this last scene that I just read has really stuck with me. Yeah? So, both of those concepts do happen, that we can have an individual page that catches us and even takes our breath away. But there are also pages that go through and are not going to be the ones that we stop at, but they are still important. And a lot of that has to do with getting the story told. So if you come to a page like this and you fill in a little bit of journaling here and fill in a little bit of journaling here and go, but actually, I have more story to tell. Put it in that spot. Do not for 1 second say, no, the composition needs that to breathe. It'll be okay. Because in your next page, you're likely going to have another breathing spot, or you could even purposely make a page that's far more minimal to face this one, and then your breathing spot is fine. But you don't have to think about it when you make the next page. Chances are it's naturally going to happen that you'll have some pages that are busier and some pages that are simpler. And when you put them all together in one book, beautiful. Okay. So does that kind of answer your question on how much is too much? All right, I'm going to put a little bit more gold on this before I call it done, aside from the writing. But things that are going to go on writing and staples, then we're good. Yeah. Leslie came in at the 80s. We love the 80s around here. Somebody asked the other day, what gold am I using now? The gold I am using now, do not turn it on its side to show the camera, is the Ranger Distress Spritz. That is like a vocal warm-up, I tell you. Distress Spritz. I wonder if they thought about that when they were working on the branding. In fossilized amber. If you search for gold, it's not going to come up. Some stores might have it tagged now as gold, but it's called fossilized amber. But fossilized amber in the ink colors is yellow. If you make yellow metallic, you get gold. So there we are. All right, so we're going to let that dry. We're going to look at another page here with our time that remains. But also I want to talk to you about what happens with smaller stories. Okay, let me take a drink because I'm going to talk a lot. All right, so for example, I have this, and then on the same day, I have this single photo, which I want in my album, but I do not need a full 12 by 12 page for. Okay, this is a really funny thing that we do now, where if you find a sign that is just like a letter or two off from our family name, you take a photo of people standing in front of it and you arrange them so they can't see the letter that's missing, and it looks like they're standing in front of a road or a station or a shop or whatever that has their name. Is it silly? Yes, that's all it's meant to be, but it's also good fun because then you send it to the rest of the family and they're like, ha ha, I found another one. So I have a photo of the boys with the wording obscured here. And how would I then put that in my album? Because I don't want, every time we find one of these, I don't want that to become a whole 12 by 12 page. I want that to have a home, and that's where I come in with small stories. So these are my bigger stories where I have more to write, maybe more photos. I want to really enjoy the embellishment, and they get 12 by 12 pages. But I keep my pages chronologically, and I would then want this photo either side of this. I'm not so picky about the chronology that it has to go before if we were walking before and after if we were walking after, but the same day it's going to go one side or the other. And I would put it in a smaller page with pockets, right? So I have cut apart here. So let's look at how that would work. So I would take a page protector like this, and sometimes I would keep it at the full 3x3 spot, but I know that I don't have that many to fill. So instead, I'm going to cut it down so that it's just 2 wide. And then you could, and sometimes I even cut it down smaller, but today, this size. And then I take that photo, and it will go with some others that are close enough in the timeline that they make sense. And they will create their own little pocket page of smaller stories. It's a great way to use the supplies that that end up left over, the offcuts and things like that. Even if they're not cut aparts, you might have a 3x4 scrap that then makes sense, or you might have actual 3x4s that work really easy, or 4x6, or you can have other size pocket page protectors to make it all work. So I have these here that we pulled out. Oh, remember though, Auntie Caffeine, this was already started. Yeah, so don't be too harsh on yourself that I'm starting something new now, because I didn't start with this completely blank. Remember, I made a lot of that on Friday. Okay, so this one is our 3x4. So I need somewhere to write, so let's have this one that has the writing space. And so I want anything that has a photo that needs explaining, needs its writing space next door. Yeah. So we'll have those two there. You can see now that where I've cut the photo down, it's a little smaller here. Oh, this collection is Boho Sunshine, which was this 2 summers ago. We had this in kit, but I'd bought more than I ended up using in the kit. Right, and then we can kind of guess at where the rest of the page is going to go, because I know what else we did that day. I haven't printed more photos from that day, but I feel like we're in a good zone there. So I usually will do something, if I'm working with like a sheet of cut aparts like this, I'll try and do zigzag. So 3 that work out together. So you should use that for the choir small story for Peace Day. That is not the same time zone, the time era as this, so I won't use that one here. I'm kind of tempted to go to that pink, so let's try that. What was the B-side like? Oh, we could have the B-side work as the photo mat, maybe? Let's see what it looks like. No, that pattern doesn't really make for a great photo mat, so we'll find other places to put the sunshines rather than behind there. So in Just Joy and in Old Stash and This Year's Story, all of those kinds of classes where you're seeing me create a whole section of my story chronologically, these are the kind of things that you'll get that aren't just a 12 by 12. Now, I would take you all the way through that because I'd have the other 2 photos here, and I would decide, or it might be that there's 1 photo here and this becomes more writing, or, something like that. But I would take you through that, finishing that whole page. But that's a concept that I use a lot, where I will go through a month, or my albums are 3 months. But I will have all of my little odds and ends photos. They all end up with a place because I use things like this. And I use the little bits of stash left over to make that work. Is that enough to kind of give you an idea? Also, if you find a sign that's close to your name, take a picture. It's funny. Okay, so let's look at this last bit that I want to do today, and maybe I can make it answer Auntie Caffeine's question. She says, I don't think you saw this, so I'll ask again. When do you decide to have a grounding layer on a 12 by 12 layout? I'm going to ask you for a definition. How do you define a grounding layer? What is it that you're meaning here? Because I'm not sure that I have the right thing in mind. And snap. Do, 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 do. So tell me what you think. Okay, so I want to do, before we leave, I wanted to do a starting point with this a starting point with the kit from my stash. So let's see what we can do there. Right, sorry. Window's not cooperating there, but I've got it now. So the other papers we had pulled out, I have these two. Oh, amazing, Leslie. I love it when you just find loads of things that have the same name. Oh, okay. Auntie Caffeine says, when you trim a busy 12 by 12 on all four sides and place it on top of a less busy paper. Okay, so that you have a border all around. So I would call that framing a paper. And let's look at some layouts and see when I've framed and when I haven't. Hold on. I often frame when I'm working on a light background because I don't always love a light background. So I did a frame for the first layout of this month, which is this one. Let me move stuff so that you get a clear. And I know I can explain why I frame on here. What else we got that's had a frame? I don't do it a lot. Just everything that's sitting here organized for me to put into this next album, and now I'm gonna take it out of the organization. Oh no. This one has a frame. That's from a class, so I don't really want to use that as an example. This one has a frame. Okay. Let's use these three as an example. Okay. So this one has a thin frame because I wanted to have a whole bunch of different patterns, but I didn't want it to feel like it was flying away. Flying away is a really technical design term there, but what I mean by flying away is if you can imagine this without the green border, then it's just a little bit less concrete, and having the frame around the edge, even though it's only high contrast on the left and it's not high contrast on the right, just pulls everything in and gives you a defined edge, a bit like inking, but on a bigger scale. And the reason is when I'm doing that whole challenge of how many collections, can I put 13 collections on here? See you later, Taryn. I can pull everything in because I know I'm going to be putting so many pieces into this design that I don't want it to feel chaotic. So then this gives a nice light, bright contrast and then gives a frame. The frame doesn't really matter on this side so much. Yeah, Auntie Caffeine says, your eye might have a hard time seeing where the page ends on the left, and here you might have a hard time seeing that these are two different papers, but it's here that I want that framing so that I have this nice light airy bit, but I still have a defined edge to bring it in. So that's one. Then the second example I pulled out does the thing that that I started to say. It's because I'm not good on light colored papers. So here, it is because there's a whole bunch of different color happening here, and it's a little organic, and I want to be able to then pen that back in. So I like having the contrasting darker matte here in order so that it doesn't feel like this should keep going off the edges. It feels like it has some sort of defined edge. And then this one basically does the opposite. So it's a dark paper, but I didn't want the layout to feel dark, so I framed it with a light paper. This also gave me the ability, by having a slightly wider border on this one, a bigger frame, I could play with this outside edge, which is what I wanted to do with this composition, to have all of these different pieces that just go off that blue a little bit. So I wanted it to be relatively neutral there so that they each kind of get their nice bright spot. If I had chosen any of the other colors on this layout to frame this one, we wouldn't get this. Because if I chose red, then the red wouldn't look like it's going off. If I chose orange, it wouldn't, blue, yeah? So it needed to be something different. Does that help? But that is framing a page in order to make sure things don't fly away. Okay, so a 15-minute starting point. And do we want to work with the Starburst or with this collage? They would both work. So shall I do a little poll and you can tell me your preference? What do we have? Starburst or torn strips? So we've got Starburst on the right and torn strips on the left. See what you would like to work with. Oh, it's even, it's even. See what you fancy. Oh, looks like a winner's coming out. Okay. So let's go with this Starburst paper, which was from Vicky's Fernwood collection. So let's have a starting point that you can use with Starburst papers. And there are lots of them in all different styles. Some clean, some little sort of super cutesy, some are super collagey like this. You can get them in all different color schemes. You can get them where this bit is more central. You can get that the center is way over in a corner, the center is at the bottom so that your page is just this part. All different things, but we can always use the same composition tips to work with it and then move stuff around. So I am going to build something where I'm building from this center spot. So I've got a 4x4 card here that has just been looking at me on the desk since I opted out of it last week. So I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to place it to the edge of that center piece, but I'm going to keep it nice and square. So I'm looking at this side edge there to do that. Oh, thanks, Ginny. Ginny says, I've packed lots of mini lessons in today. Well, that is a pleasure. If you want more lessons, you know, I have that class that starts soon. Just join. Starts next week. So you should join. The link's in the description. Yeah. You get, in all seriousness, 20 edited videos and 6 live streams. Is that right? I believe that's right. So that you can ask all sorts of things that you might want to ask in the live streams, but also have really planned and edited, concise lessons for the other stuff too. And it will take you through 3 months of storytelling. So all of my pages 4 April, May, and June of 2025 with a focus on all of the things that bring me super excitement when I am scrapbooking, and that includes my most joyful types of composition, photos, journaling, embellishments, technique, color schemes, all that sort of stuff. So you can join me for just joy if that sounds joyful to you. All right. I wanted to find the little transparency piece that was with this. There was another one. There it is. I can see it. I wondered how this would look. Oh, it's actually a bit too busy in my opinion here. So, okay, we'll keep that for something else. But I do want to use some of this, and let's look for which colors would match. I think we could use the blue, green, and the green here. Georgia, Old Stash has 2 videos that are coming this week to wrap it up. Yeah, so both Punches and Old Stash have 2 videos to come this week. Now, here's what we're gonna have. We're going to build around this spot. Oh, Justine says, what days are the lives for class? The lives have not been scheduled in yet. I don't have things like audition and rehearsal schedules just yet. But so the live streams will be scheduled as at a time each week, but you'll always be able to see them on the live stream and or on the replay. And if you have questions that you want answered in a live stream, but the live stream timing ends up being absolutely rubbish for you, that's okay, because there is a place for you to be able to say, please answer this question in the live stream, and I will do that. All right, and even if you don't like my answer and you're like, nope, that did not make it clear, I can come back to it as many times as we need to, no problem. Okay, so the other one was here. So what we want to do right now is work around this spot, leaving this empty, because we're gonna put the photos over that spot. Oh my goodness. Sunday Morning says, I used to do Best of Both Worlds for a while, but I haven't scrapbooked in about 2 years because I've been junk journaling. But she's back. She did 11 scrapbook pages in the past week with inspiration from Best of Both Worlds videos. Yay! It feels good to be back. Well, it feels good to have you back. Stick around. And you can do both. You can totally do journals and this. Big pages, little pages, cardboard box. It's all good. All right. So if I've worked this way, now I need something over here. Yeah? Oh, that's a great question. Auntie Caffeine wants to know, how did Sunday Morning find her way back? That would be a great thing to know. Sophia uses paper for a layout when we had the first crazy heat wave summer a couple years back, and all the grass was yellow like a savanna. Yes. And now we have the savanna every summer. Okay, so let's find a bit of paper to work on this side now. Maybe we go back to the collage papers. So we could have the craft side with some lettering, or we could have this floral side. I'm thinking we go with a bit of both. So let's tear that edge. Okay. So if we have something like this, but it needs to be not that tall. The orange piece in the top, it does. It has like a sunflower illustration faded into the background. Yeah. Auntie Caffeine says, does anybody else struggle with decisions? Girl, stick it and go. No, but to be serious, I have a whole class called Design Decisions because of exactly that. You are not alone if you're always thinking, yeah, what decision, what's the choice here? But to be honest, just stick it and go. You can keep, like, there'll always be another page that you can put any other idea on. It's fine. Put that one over the top. Okay, so this space is going to be empty. Then what could we put over here? Oh, shall I grab some Sasa layering stickers? Since we're having fun with things from Stash, they're in this cupboard down here. I love things like this. Oh, this is from that same collection. Okay. That has good colors for here. So get those 4. Okay, so let's take something like this, which is a really nice mix to match to another color on the same sheet. And we go over to one side or the other. I love this contrast of the peachy against the green, so we're going to pull that down there. Then could take that, which is going well with like this color and this blushy. It's a paler shade of that, but it has that same peachy pink that's in there. Leslie says, this paper gives her Animal Kingdom vibes, so she's going to use it for photos saying goodbye to the boneyard. I so can't quite get my head around Dinoland going away. Leslie, do you have any inside info on, the store in Dinoland that is just like a work of art? Is that just like trashed? Like, I feel like that has to go somewhere. And is it wrong that like I'm in love with a shop, but like if you took the merch out of that shop, you could practically make it an attraction. It was just beautiful. And it kind of makes me very sad. And just be like, nope, bye. I know, we all feel like this about different things. I still, like, Primeval Whirl never got, like, a great big goodbye. And I'm not a roller coaster girl, and I love Primeval Whirl. And some of my favorite memories were of going on Primeval Whirl on my own because WB wasn't big enough to go, and it wasn't really, like, such a big deal that the roller coaster dude of the house would want to go, but I really like that one, so I'd be like, I'm gonna ride that. And it just kind of went into, oh, it's not working right now, and never kind of had a big send-off. Okay, let's bring some neutral back in here, and let's pop that up for a bit of contrast and change in the layering here. Oh, Primeval Whirl was a roller coaster with where you were sitting in a teacup, essentially. And so, but because Dinoland was made to feel like an old kind of traveling carnival or a roadside carnival, really. It wasn't ever a super polished kind of ride. It was always meant to be. The whole theming of Dinoland was that it was all a little bit rough around the edges. And I love the backstory of all of the lands, but if you ever come across it, like I think in it closing now, a couple people have done little videos where they go through all of the backstory of like, how do we end up with this as a land, and the story of like, there's this small town and people find some bones, and then we end up with a dinosaur research center, and we end up with a midway where there's games because the tourists are coming to see the dinosaur bones, so we're gonna monopolize on that by having all of this. And it's just, I love stuff like that. Like I love the whole story of each park's Frontierland and how the, oh my goodness, and how, sorry, the background noise is back, and how the each park's version of the Haunted Mansion fits into the lore of that stuff. And so I know that's stuff that's like not obvious, but it's the sort of thing that I really, really love, and I think that Disney does better than any other park in the world. And so, yeah, it makes me sad that things like a little gift shop that got loads of Imagineering would just disappear. But if you're wondering, like, why would I think that this shop was a work of art? Seriously, just go Google gift shop in Dynaland and it'll come up. Let me see if I can get you a real name. But it just was amazing. It's called Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures. That's the one you want to look up. Chester and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures. And the aesthetic is just amazing. So I don't know what will happen to it now, but I loved it. I appreciated it and its air conditioning. Okay. What we got? Oh, closing time. So I think this is the starting point because also I'm not going to be able to talk over that. Oh my goodness, it's loud. So let's take a little quick photo of that. And then you work on this space over the top. Now, these photos might be a little big, so maybe I separate the washi out. That's okay. Washi will restick. But that's where we're going with this. So you build a little frame around wherever the center of the Starburst is. And then you're going to come back and put stuff over the top. So on Friday, we'll come back, we'll finish this, and we will start with the kit and the all the new stuff, because it should surely be here by then. We should be all good to go, and we'll maybe get started on some back to school photos if the kit is here. And that's where we are. So what we've done so far is we've got a starting point, just a little concept of the small stories and how they fit into my scrapbooking, but that's not like a finished one. That's just kind of the planning phase. And then the layout that we finished today. Plus we have done one other page in September, and that is this one. Right. So that's what we've done so far this month. I've loved having you here, and I'm so glad you're able to come and hang out with me. I hope that you have a wonderful week. I will see you again at Friday, but hey, don't forget, I have a class that starts next week and you can join. So the link is in the description box, and that one is called Just Joy, and you can sign up and come hang out with me scrapbooking even more, but you get like actual focused lessons rather than haphazard, let's talk about all the different things. And Christmas shopping list will go live tonight. Now, nobody gave me extra things that you do or do not want, so here's your last chance. Was anybody out there going, oh wait, I wanted to tell you something about Christmas supplies? Is there anything that was different that you have always wished that I put in a kit and I haven't, or anything like that? I'll let you tell me here at the very end while we have atmospheric sanding of the exterior walls. Isn't that a thing of beauty? Amazing. It does sound like a cutting machine, but like on super duper. Okay, if you come up with anything in the next couple hours that you want me to know about Christmas kits, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, kit will be live tonight, and I'll post it in all the places. So I'll post it on the Facebook group. I'll post it on my Instagram stories. I'll post it on my blog. You can find it all those usual places. All right? Thank you so much, and I'll see you again on Friday. Bye! If you want to give it a thumbs up, that'd be super duper awesome, but taking the class is even more awesome. Thanks, bye!